Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. So, today I just wanted to do a nice chilled, relaxing video like this with you all. I'm going to keep it as short as I can. I think you'll find this useful, so this is a little bit different. If you just come here for the composing stuff, this will still apply for you, so stick around and see what you think. So, I just had this thought recently. I started thinking about this year, how it's been a bit of a strange, tough year. A lot of things for everyone, and then stuff's happened in our personal lives as well. It's a very odd year, isn't it? But anyway, there's been quite a few highlights in it as well, and it got me thinking about my goals and where I wanted to be. And maybe I'm not exactly where I want to be right now, but I feel like I'm in the right place, and I'm very proud of what I've achieved so far. And of course, I'm not where I want to be long term. There's still much more I want to achieve. However, I quit my part-time job that I was working at the start of March. So I handed in my notice at the start of February, obviously worked that 4-week notice, then quit my job because I had continuous freelance work coming in, which I'm extremely grateful for. And then, almost a week later, lockdown happened. So it was such a strange time to be transitioning, but it worked out really well. And I'm now working, doing what I want to do. I'm not exactly where I want to be yet. I've still got quite a long way to go, quite a long journey, but that's exciting. This is a huge next step, and I need to give myself more credit for this. It's a huge step, and I finished university 2018, so it would have been about June or July. By March 2020, I was full-time, self-employed and freelance. So yeah, and when I finished university, I went straight into working that job. I found it literally, I think, a month after I finished university, so pretty much straight away. And I used the money from that to essentially invest in equipment that I need for this, and into my education, and things like that. And yes, I'm not exactly where I want to be yet. There's so much more I want to do, and I have big dreams and big goals that I want to achieve, and it's going to take some time. But this is such a huge next step, and I need to give myself more credit for this. And I think this is something we need to do in general more. Remember to celebrate the wins, no matter how small they are. If we just keep working and never stop to really, people say you shouldn't always look back. The only time you should really look back is to look back at what you've achieved and what you've learned and where you are now. And I think that's true. So even though we've had quite a strange year, there are still a lot of good things that have come from this. Like being stuck at home more. A lot of people have started working out more. Apparently the sales of music instruments in this country have gone up massively because there's more people picking up music as a hobby now, which is amazing, isn't it? There's a little story I wanted to say. So when I was 15 or 16 in my final year of secondary school, we had a careers guidance counsellor who would come into school, and we had maybe 2 or 3 sessions in total, per student. It was one-on-one, and they would sit us down in a room one-on-one and ask us what we wanted to do, and then maybe give us advice on the careers that we wanted to do. I said that I wanted to work in music and make music my full-time job, or whether it's I'd be working some sort of music job touring with my band live. That's what I thought I would be doing. That's what I wanted to do. I had no idea I'd get into composing. That came way later in university. And all this other stuff I'm doing now, I never thought I'd be doing now. But anyway, it was still music, so it's the same kind of idea. People go, ooh, you want to make a living in music? That's not possible. So yeah, anyway, I was 15, 16 or whatever. And I remember she said to me, that's quite risky. It's really hard. Not many people achieve it. So you can't really rely on it. You should get something a bit more stable. Like maybe you could become a music teacher, and you can study here at the school at the 6th form rather than going to college, which would be high school in the US, I think. So you could just go here and you could just become a music teacher and then start teaching. I remember sitting there, and I'm grateful that I had a strong enough mind and strong enough mindset and vision of what I wanted to do to not feel put down by that, because I can imagine some people would feel crushed by that, by someone who's an adult telling you that. I don't know, some people could really take that to heart and think, wow, yeah, I've not got what it takes. Only like 1% of people do it. I'm just so glad that I never listened to that careers counsellor or guidance counsellor or whatever it was. And I just remember sitting there and thinking in my head going, yep, I will remember this day and I will talk about it later on when I'm doing what I want to do. So then I finished school, I went to college, which would be high school in the US, did 2 years at college. Then I finished, I went to university for 3 years, and then I worked a job almost 2 years, a year and a half roughly, doing so much overtime, you know, coming back and working, days off working and just going all in to make it happen. And then March 2020, I managed to go full time. So I'm not at the point yet where I'm making the kind of income that I would like to long term, but I'm at the point where I could quit that job, keep living on that small budget and keep working towards those big dreams. That's an amazing step, and I need to acknowledge myself on that more. And you guys need to acknowledge yourselves more on when you learn something, you know, even if it's something like you've learned voice leading for the first time, or you've learned some programming technique that makes your programming sound way more realistic when it comes to orchestral programming. Celebrate that. You know, don't go crazy, it's not about that, but just, you know, there's a balance. You can't just go crazy and just celebrate all the time, but celebrate your wins. I'm not in a place to give financial advice or anything like that, so please take this with a grain of salt. This is just my experience. Okay, so slightly different day. I've just been editing the video and there's a few additions that I'd like to make, so I'm just going to jump in at a few different points in this video. I hope that most of you will be self-aware enough to know that if you're hardworking, you're driven, you're passionate, and that you're going to give it your all, not just dabble in it, then you can make it happen. Whatever it is you want to do. If you want to become a composer, a producer, a photographer, whatever, you can do it. It's going to be hard. You have to be flexible. You have to be willing to put in a lot of time and sacrifice some things in your life. So for me, that was, you know, earning less money than most people who graduated from university so that I could just work a little bit less rather than working, you know, 5 days a week for however many hours, but just doing 3 days with slightly lower hours so that I had more time to focus on this. I think you'll know deep down how much you believe in yourself and whether you truly know, like, no, I can do it. And, you know, you need to be realistic. You need to learn about the industry you want to go into and learn what the different types of income streams are, and maybe be a little bit more flexible and go into something else that's related in the industry, but it's not exactly what you want to do straight away, but at least you're working in the industry, so that work is going to benefit your future self rather than just working for money, so giving up time to earn money in some job, whereas you could work within the industry you want to, earning income, obviously, but also gaining experience that's relevant to that industry that you want to be in. So, you know, we live in a very changing landscape that is the music industry, especially for film music, TV music, game music, trailer music. Everything is changing all the time, and we're seeing huge shifts in the industry. So there are a lot of other ways that you can make income as well, and you can be open to those things. All I would say is just try and go for what you think will give you the best life. If it means just doing music as a hobby, great, that's fine. If that's going to make you fulfilled, you love your job and you just want to do this as a hobby, fantastic. I'm really happy for you. If you want to go into this and do it professionally and actually make this your full-time job, or to build a business around it so you don't have to work a job, you know, a normal kind of 9-to-5 job, whatever, then again, be self-aware with that and find where your strengths are, see what you need to work on, and go all in with it. Okay, so one thing to note that's quite important, I think, that, you know, to get these roles that I've got, these gigs that I've got with, you know, working regularly with Audio Imperia and Evidence, a huge part of that was because I put myself out there in multiple places. So, you know, on different forums, on Facebook groups and other composers' Facebook posts, and just my attitude, those two companies could see my positive attitude and maybe the contributions I made to different communities. That's definitely a huge reason why I'm doing the work I am doing now. And the reason that I got that work is, both of those companies reached out to me. I didn't reach out to them. And that's showing, it's almost like you can view your social media almost as like not just your CV, but your interview. If you go to a job interview, your CV or resume, if you're in the US, that would be like your demo reel or your show reel or something on your website. And your website could be like that. And then the interview process almost, it's not exactly like an interview. You could actually have a, FaceTime interview or something like that. But I kind of see it as like the research or shadowing or interview phase of companies looking for potential people to work with. If you're a ghost online nowadays, they're probably not going to be able to find out much about you other than maybe speaking to other people. And if other people online don't really know who you are, then yeah, it might be harder for you to get these opportunities. Like if I wasn't active online, I wouldn't have had these opportunities at all. So I mentioned, like Facebook groups, student groups like that for courses on different forums and things like that, being active there. But I also upload my own content on YouTube, and I have been doing for a couple of years. I try and make these videos as authentic as I can. I try and put my personality in there. I'm trying to just be myself. I'm not trying to play a character. I'm not saying that other people are doing that. I'm just saying I've consciously made that a decision with my content and how I approach all of this, is that I want to be myself and be authentic with it all. So I think that shows through in some of my videos maybe, and I think that's part of the reason, and I've been told that's part of the reason that some of these companies reached out to me, because they could see my personality, my approach, how I respond to people in comments, how I talk in my videos. That's all part of it, So another piece of advice, basically what I'm trying to say, is put yourself out there and go for it. Don't wait for things to come to you. Yes, these jobs came to me, but only because I was putting myself out there constantly for a couple of years on social media, on YouTube, also my Instagram, and then engaging in forums and on Facebook groups and things like that. So I've been very active, and they could see that. They can kind of look back and see, or follow me for a while and go, yeah, this guy's consistent. He's not putting on some kind of facade or some sort of role, he's being himself. And that's what I'm always trying to do, is be more of myself. And I think I'm getting more and more confident to be myself. That's probably the hardest thing to do on camera. One other thing I wanted to add, actually, just in the middle of this. Okay, these two companies I mentioned, I didn't reach out to them, they reached out to me. So putting yourself out there like this can be useful. However, when it comes to library music and training music, things like that, production music, every single opportunity I've had through that, I've reached out to companies and other composers. I haven't been asked by a company yet, like a publisher, to write music for them. I've always reached out to them with my music. For example, I'm finishing up a solo album for a publisher based in the US for library music. And for that, I just reached out to them. They didn't reach out to me. Sending them 3 or 4 tracks that I had in a playlist. They chose one track that they liked and said, can you write an album in that style? And we went from there. So I think there's a balance to it, Don't just wait around for people to reach out to you. Do everything you can by putting yourself out there, and people will notice it over time if it's worth noticing. But also, you can reach out yourself. Don't feel like you can't. There is a time and place for both of them. You should be doing both of them, definitely. So just wanted to put that in there. So yeah, if you can, post something on YouTube or Instagram and interact with people in Facebook groups and forums and just Facebook posts from other composers. You never know who's watching, who's listening, who's following you. Not everyone's going to like the approach of what I'm doing. That's fine. Find what works for you. Go out there and take consistent action to attract these opportunities towards you. What you put out there on a regular basis is what you're going to attract more of. There are so many opportunities out there. There is enough for everyone to have some form of success and get the life that they want. You have to go out there and create these opportunities for you. You can't just wait for these opportunities to come towards you. You have to put yourself out there and create those opportunities for you. Make people know who you are so that they can reach out to you with these opportunities, Opportunities aren't just going to come to you without any kind of action. You have to have, obviously, a good intention behind everything and have a good mindset and put in the action to create the opportunities.
Go out there and create the opportunity like many other people have done before. That's usually how you'll get towards what you want, you know? So I hope this was helpful in some way. Live every day with as much joy as you can and bring more positivity, because that's what we need more of at this time in the world. Thank you for watching. I hope you found it useful, and I'll see you very soon with another video. Cheers. Bye.